How you doing, people? Robert here, AKA Robess, Anti-Corruption Scotland. Now, I'm going to start doing a series of videos to educate the people relating to the so-called justice system. Now, the justice system, people think is courts, is not courts. They're fraudulent, and everybody working in the capacity of sheriffs, court managers, procurator fiscals, clerks of the court are all acting out of vires, because this system can only deal with corporations and fictions. Now, what do I mean when I say this? Now, every Glasgow Sheriff Court, Paisley Sheriff Court, and every court in Scotland is registered in Dun & Bradstreet as a private corporation trading for profit. So when people go into these so-called corporate places of business, they're treated as a person, an entity, a corporation. You have no rights. They don't recognise you, they don't see you, and they don't hear you. And I can verify that under a charge of perjury. Any court jurisdiction in the lands of Scotland, England, Ireland or Wales, Court of Session, Supreme Court or beyond. The full legal system is a fraud against every man and woman, son and daughter, and that's a fact. People in this lands of Scotland do not have rights, including human rights. Everything in this system is a privilege, like your benefits. That's why they can take it away or they can cut it, because you've signed up to their legal system, legal society, via registering to vote. You're a person, a citizen. Myself, I'm not a person, I'm not a citizen, I'm not an inhabitant, I'm not a tenant, I'm not a legal owner. I am a living man, right? And I'll keep saying that because nobody's going to tell me who and what I am or presume who or what I am, right? It's rebutted for point blank for the start. Now, we have two systems, legal, lawful. Legal is for the person, corporation and corporations, right? Lawful is for the man or woman. Do not commit harm, loss, injury, property damage or fraud within a lawful contract. That's the law, common sense, no right from wrong. The problem we have here is we've got a legal system, legal society, is acting out of vires continuously. They know they're doing wrong, but they continue to do it because of people's ignorance and don't understand what's going on. Plus the fact the dilemma with the people is they believe paid liars. Your politicians with their politics and lies, the rules, regulations and policies to the legal person, which is privileges. Anything created by this legal system, legal society, does not impact on the man or woman, because you cannot be recognised. And that's a fact. You can't interact with a man or a woman, only a person. When you register your passport, or the fiction's passport, or the fiction's driving licence, that's how they get you. Everything that you fill in, every time you fill in a form with black ink, all capital name, and put the title beside it, Mr, Mrs or Miss, you've created joinder because you've created a fiction. That's how this works. Fiction, person, only exists in paper. There is no full disclosure. Anything this system does, legal system, is void, right? The funny thing is, in this legal system, they're dealing with civil laws. Statutes, acts and legislation is civil laws, the law of contract. But you don't know this because you're deceived to believe it's a law. Word manipulation takes place. Law, offence. Law, to break a law, a lawful law, there has to be a corpus delicti, a victim, in your party, man or woman, making a claim as such. Offence is an infraction of a rule. As these corporations, including the Scottish Parliament, Scottish Government, Westminster Government, House of Commons, Minister of Justice, Cabinet Office, are all corporations, they can only create policies. These are no laws, people. These are corporate policies with private corporations registered in Dun & Bradstreet. When governments, entities known as government, diminish their capacity and turn to corporations, they'll lose the sovereignty. Nothing in this country, in this world, is sovereign. United Kingdom is a corporation. Scotland is a corporation. England, Wales and Ireland are a corporation. The landmass of Scotland is a different ballgame. That's what the people stand on. That's a landmass. That's a real lands of Scotland, right? But people don't know this. because people don't pay attention. They don't want to know this because their life is too comfortable, too sweet, and it's not came to their door yet. But the way this system is going, it's coming to your door. Now the courts, these are just officers of the court, procurator fiscal, officer of the court, clerk of the court, officer of the court, manager, officer of the court, sheriff, officer of the court. Anything related to the word officer is corporate. No sovereign, corporate. And it's terrible that people, with the amount of videos and information I put out there with other people with different videos and different networks, don't get this yet. Or maybe they just don't want to get it. But at one point they are going to get it. Now, corporations cannot interact with corporations. They can't contract with men and women. They can only contract with corporations. And this is how the illusion of their authority, presumption of authority arises. Because if you recognise yourself as a legal person or person, you're a corporation, so they can only deal with you as a corporation. And when they put the all capital name on any documents, that's the corporation, that's the fiction, that's the dead entity. And this has been proven with myself, with a video on TikTok showing the evidence, prima facie evidence, that Scotland People website, you have an entity ID, a big long number, and it's the all capital name, right? They've stole your identity, people. And that's a fact. Constructive fraud, they're committing major fraud against every man and woman in the lands of Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales and beyond, worldwide. And that's a fact. People have to really get a gist of this, right? It's my understanding come July this year, they're going to have an event, a training exercise for the so-called new virus, right? And if you remember the last training exercise that they did, everything they did in the exercise proved true. It worked out the way they wanted it because that's the way they manipulated it to deceive people and con them. Stand 2 meters apart, wear masks, stay in your house, even get people to phone up and say, oh, somebody's having a party across the road, they've got more than 2 people in their home, blah, blah, blah. You weren't allowed to stand in more groups of 2 people, right? Or it was unlawful, as they call it, but it wasn't unlawful, it was illegal. And that's to do with the persons. Now, people, the courts are a corporate place of business, nothing more, nothing less. They are not sovereign. These people that operate in these courts, the sheriffs included, especially them, tyrants, they know what they're doing. They're using the fear factor. Like when I went to court, as I told you before, recently, he wanted me to go into the, what I call the box, they call the dock, and I wouldn't do it. At one point in that administrative hearing, he says that, do you know I can issue a warrant for failure to appear? Really? So, if I was not there, who was he going to arrest? That's the illusion, people. This is how bad it is. There was no person standing beside me. There was nobody standing beside me, but there were people behind me witnessing the process, right? And because I wouldn't bow to his Mickey Mouse authority and their rules, regulations and policy, he dropped the case, says it was time barred, and it wasn't in the interest of justice to take it forward. That was because he couldn't get jurisdiction over a living man, and it was made clear in front of 12 witnesses that I was a living man. He never rebutted it. He never rebutted the paperwork it was put in the case file either, because that made it clear who and what I was, right? People have to pay attention. Now, I'm going to go through this again. Corporate fictions, Glasgow City Council, Edinburgh Council, Police Scotland, Berlin Prison, they're a corporation as well, NHS, Social Work Department, Children's Panel. That's all fictitious names, corporate names they used to escape liability. Fictitious offices again, people. Police officer, police constable, sheriff, procurator fiscal, clerk of the court, court manager. Fictitious names to escape liability. But not one of these men or women can come out of that mask behind it and make a claim against a living man or woman. They can't do it, people. That's why everything in every statute of legislation, Housing Act, Anti-Social Behaviour Act, Road Traffic Act, etc., is all relevant to person. You'll never see man or woman in these acts because they can't deal with man or woman, and that's a fact. And I'll verify that under a charge of perjury. Again, any court jurisdiction in the lands of Scotland, England, Ireland or Wales, the Court of Session, Supreme Court or beyond. Court of Session is a private corporation registered in Dun and Bradstreet, people, and so is the Supreme Court in London. All the magistrate courts are registered in Dun and Bradstreet. All your police forces is registered in Dun and Bradstreet. Your community centres registered in Dun and Bradstreet. And today with the pensioners, the services supplied with the pensioners, the law centres are registered in Dun and Bradstreet. They're all part of a major fraud against the people. And every time you interact with these people and engage with these people and fill in their paperwork with these people, you're creating a person. That's how they're getting away with this, right? The legal system, legal society, including your Scottish government, the entity known as government, Scottish Parliament, and all your politicians are tyrants at the highest level. They're all acting ultra vires to the extreme fact they're committing treason at the highest level, and especially in these courts. It's all about money, right? That's what it's about. And people need to wake up to this. Sheriff officers claim to be court officers. They're subcontracting to the court, right? They shouldn't be collecting alleged debts for the entity known as council, right? Because the council can't make a claim that you owe a debt. It's a fictitious name. There is no man or woman called council. There is no man or woman called sheriff. There is no man or woman called procurator fiscal. There is no man or woman called court manager. There is no man or woman called clerk of the court, right? But there's men and women hide behind these masks and act criminal at the highest level. That's how they escape liability. When you get a letter for the court, they'll say clerk of the court. Sometimes you get a wee scribble, but that means nothing, right? There isn't anybody called clerk of the court. There isn't anybody called sheriff. As I keep telling you, when are you people going to really wake up and smell a coffee? Because things are going to get harder and harder for this day forward. It started, but it's going to get harder and harder. They want to bring in the 2030 agenda, cashless society, digital ID. Well, I went into Farm Foods yesterday to get something. They didn't have it. And on the door it says, digital ID in operation. Right? Now, they have no toll. See, this is where the system works against the people. It's all a rigged game, people. Everything's rigged in their favour. It's not for the people. You get no services. Can't get hospital appointments. Can't get doctor appointments. Dental appointments, you've got to fight to get one of them. When I go down to my doctor's surgery, the entity known as doctor's surgery, it's dead as a doornail and their phones isn't ringing constant. The false system's lying to you people. And there's only one way forward in this to stop this tyranny, corruption and fraud at the highest level is a one people government where the people get rid of the politicians, every politician's in this system, and get a people government, one people government where we take control. Nobody talks about this, people. Nobody's not even mentioned this. The people can create a government and get rid of the tyrants, right? It's like John Sweeney recently was supposed to take a 20 grand wage rise, pay rise. Where does he get the authority to take that pay rise? Out of the people's purse. Everything the people are getting is paid by the people's purse. The so-called governments don't have any money. Prime example, Westminster government stammer, billions every month. Right? So why are you paying a debt that he created with the politicians? That's not your debt. Right? The money comes for the people's purse. Everything comes for the people's purse. Right? And it's diabolical you don't get that either. You don't owe any national debt, people. That's a fact. You'll get idiots out there that will say, oh, how are we going to pay for things? Well, look what you're getting just now. You're paying for things and you're getting nothing. Do you know, is the penny no dropped yet, people? Why no? Why is it not dropped? It's diabolical that you don't see what's going on. Now, I had a dispute with somebody the other day relating to a court. He didn't need to go to court. Well, I've got first-hand knowledge and first-hand experience in this, people. In Scotland, if they don't come and get you right away, you're lucky, but they will come and get you in Scotland, right? I know numerous people have told the same thing and they've ignored me and they've ended up in jail and dragged into court. I've done it time and time again. There's a lot of misinformation out there. I don't give that misinformation, I tell you fact, but a lot of people don't like what I speak about because they can't handle the truth, and that's what the problem is. They'd rather listen to liars like the media, television, the radio, than read the newspapers and listen to all the babble and rhetoric. That's what the problem is. or sit on a Saturday night and watch Love Island. Really? The problems coming your way. Love Island's going to be the least of your problems when it comes to your door. Let me tell you. People have to start coming together. Educate themselves and learn what's going on. I'm one of the main truthers in Scotland, people. I don't need to give you misinformation. As I keep telling you, I don't need to do this. I don't ask you for anything. Money, fund me, PayPals. I do this to educate the people. I don't need to do this, people. I could shut the channels down tomorrow. It wouldn't bother me. But it wouldn't be fair on the people because I'm trying to educate them. Educate them for free. Not like the tyrants out there saying, fund me, PayPals. We need money for this, we need money for that. Anything in the last 14 years I've paid for myself, right? I was going to put the Anti-Corruption Scotland ban back on the road. I think I'm wasting my time. I think we're past the no return point because people don't care. They walk about like zombies in the state. I watch them day in, day out, walking about on their mobile phones, sitting on the bus with their heads down in the phones. Is that what life's all about, people? Do you think that's going to drown out or get rid of the problems that's coming your direction? I don't think so. Now, we don't have a justice system. We don't have a court system. So let me be clear. It's all fraud, lies and deception. People have to research, as I've just said. You need to research, people, and get the context of this, get and comprehend and understand what's going on. Sitting back with your heads up your ass, that's not going to cut it, right? Because that's what's happening here. People just don't want to listen because people think it's not going to affect them, but it's affecting everybody, as you see just now. I was in Aldi yesterday, and I've seen the prices go up 20, 30 pence and items here and there. It seems to be the most items that's selling seem to be keep creeping up, right? This system is there to cause deprivation and poverty, and it's doing a good job at it. Doesn't matter the government's going to pay for this, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. The government, the entity known as government, including Stammer, is going to do nothing because it's the people's money that's doing it. They've got nothing to give you, people. They own nothing. The council owns nothing because it's a fiction, right? Men and women can't pull rank on another man or woman, but they can on the person if you accept the status. That's what I'm saying to you, right? The next video I'm going to do is I'm going to get right into the intel of the court system. I'm going to tell you how these so-called judges are picked. I'm going to tell you the conflict of interest. I'm going to tell you about how the process works when you walk in the dock. I've told you umpteen time, bit by bit, but I'm going to get into detail. So this is just the start of the videos just now, people. And what I'm saying is, we don't have a sovereign justice system. We have corrupt corporate places of business screwing the people any and every way it can. Stop listening to paid liars. Stop thinking corporations like Glasgow City Council, Scottish Court Service, Police Scotland, NHS has got life. It doesn't have life. It can't contract or interact with a man or woman. Only the men or women behind that mask can interact. And they pull rank because they think they can when they don't have the authority. It's all corporate rules, regulations and policies, statutes, acts and legislation. That is not law. It's civil law, the law of contract. You get drawn into contract every time you interact with these people, fill in the paperwork. And that's where you're deceived, no full disclosure. And anything based in fraud, people, in law, a maximum in law, is ab initio, null and void from the start, right? That's a fact. Anyway, this is just a wee video to start things off. Please share this information far and wide. Get this information out there. Because technically, people, I'm losing heart. Seriously, the amount of views I'm getting, I'm losing heart. I'm yesterday sitting thinking, is this me worthwhile continuing to do what I'm doing? Because I think I'm wasting my time. Because people just don't care apart from the people that's woke up. The problem we've got to get is the people that's not woke up to wake up. Anyway, people, I'm going to leave it there. Again, please share this information far and wide. Get it out there. Everything is not what it seems, right? And those that's being deceived, let them be deceived. They're idiots. But they'll soon wake up when shit hits their door. Let me tell you that. And it's coming to their door. It's came to everybody's door. Everybody's been running about me. It's came to their door as well, including myself. For the last 14 years, I've been fighting this system. And I've not backed down yet. And I will only back down to the day I die. Alright, people. Take care. Be safe. and speak soon. Have a lovely day.